Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting live episode of Messi Co World Cup edition. We're finally down to the final four, as we would say in the U.S., but the semifinals, 4 teams left. It's been such a crazy tournament, so much to talk about. Really excited about it. Here, as always, with my incredible co-host Gian and our very special guest, who's been with us for all of the World Cup episodes, Javi Guerrero. Wow, where to start? Well, I know what we're gonna start, but let's before we start, everyone, I want to just know, give me one word to sum up how the World Cup has been up to this point.
Exciting.
Nice.
That's what I gotta say.
Fabulous.
Really, you both are saying that even though your teams had early exits.
We love
I thought there'd be
football. We love
stronger
football.
words.
We go for our teams, but we love the beautiful.
I honestly, I've tried to imagine life, a few weeks from now. I don't know what we're gonna do with our lives.
No, honestly, I agree. It's been so much fun. Mine would be, I think, also like it was like it's been perfect. It's been just a perfect storm, I think, of everything.
Still alive.
Well, yes, but the truth is like my number one love was the US, and obviously that was a disappointing exit. But yeah, so there's a lot for us to get into. And I think the thing we need to start with, because we're going to talk about obviously the Final Four, we're going to talk about England, France, Spain, Argentina. We're going to talk about that, of course. But before we do that, similarly to when we started these episodes, is we want to talk about the other teams and some of the what I would say you have to say is disappointments, which is that obviously we saw Ecuador lose in the round of 32 against Mexico in what was a very difficult game. We saw Colombia have what I think was an early exit, like an unexpected early exit against Switzerland, and the U.S. as well, in a game where I think everyone got their hopes up for the U.S. to be able to beat Belgium, and obviously the red card controversy with Balogun had a terrible game. There's no other way to say it, and kind of feels like we're back where we started, and all of the good energy and vibes didn't seem to carry over. So I don't know. Let's start with you, Gian. I'm not to pick on you. I'm sorry. It's unfortunate. Look, we're all in the same boat. But Ecuador, I'll say, from the first match in the group stages, I mean, obviously in the end they got the win over Germany, and that was super exciting. But it didn't seem, as someone who doesn't watch Ecuador regularly and had just thoughts and whatever about it, I'll say it didn't seem like they were. It didn't seem like it was gelling or something or happened or the circumstances, or I don't know. I think I had higher expectations, but I don't know the team as personally as you. So I want you to tell, what you think, what you feel, because Mexico, I mean, the way Mexico turned out and played, at the Azteca and everything certainly shouldn't be forgotten. Like they played probably above their fighting weight in a lot of senses, but yeah, just give your thoughts.
Yeah, well, definitely, I think it goes without saying that I was disappointed, and I think a lot of others that expected Ecuador to make it maybe into the next round. I don't know about quarterfinals or anything past that. I think that's also part luck as well. I think in order to be a champion in this tournament, you need a little bit of luck along with the skill set. But look, I just think that Ecuador, the same thing that plagued them in the World Cup qualifiers.
Oh, there you go. Okay, sorry. I lost you for a second.
Okay. So what I was saying is that the same issue that plagued them in World Cup qualifiers and the same issue that plagued them in the group stage, the inability to be able to score, also plagued them in this game against Mexico. So from that aspect, I think it was no surprise to me that there was a struggle in that area. But there were a lot of extracurricular things, I think, that probably also have some weight. I wouldn't say the majority of it. I would still say probably 60% of it was just the way that they played and them not being able to score, not having an attacker up front. But I think maybe, let's say 20, 30%, I think some of the extracurricular activities did have an effect on them. I mean, you're talking about playing in El Azteca, a historic stadium, extremely electric Mexican crowd. And then things like, weirdly enough, having a 4.5-hour trip turned into a 9-hour trip. I don't know logistically how that happens. It seems a little suspect. And then, having a 2 a.m. serenade with fireworks outside of your hotel definitely didn't help with sleep at all. And I think for me, without getting too into
Having issues with your mic.
Yeah, Gian, your mic. We're not hearing you 100%.
Any good right now? Can you hear me good?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep the mic here just to make sure it doesn't happen again. So I was talking about the extracurricular activities, and what I was saying is that the serenade at 2 a.m. outside of the hotel with the fireworks probably didn't help much. And while we've talked about it in the past, Copa Libertadores, that one of the things that's crazy in South America is you have things like this happen all the time. I think it's a little different in a World Cup where you sign on to be a host nation, right? And you promise that you're going to have a good environment for the opposing teams. But when you have reporters on Fox News, nationally televised throughout the country, telling everybody where the hotel is, at what time they arrive, and I don't know, it's just not a good look for me. I think that may have influenced a bit, but I'll give it to the Mexican team because all in all, they may not have had the names that Ecuador had. The players in Chelsea and Arsenal and PSG Champions League players, they certainly looked more like a gelled and well equipped team. They played well, and then in that second half, when they sat back and gave Ecuador possession of the ball, I knew it was over, because when a team sits back against a team that can't score, that was kind of game over for me. So definitely disappointed. Thought they could have done better, but until they find a good goal scoring, front attack, then I think this is probably the farthest we'll go until that happens. Next World Cup, I think we'll be better. We've got some young guys coming in up to the ranks. Barcelona just signed a winger today from Liga de Quito, so I'm excited about next World Cup. I'm already thinking about next World Cup. We're not even done with this one.
Yeah, there's always a lot of prospects. Aquí Rico put, I think Colombia was the biggest disappointment. I don't think they were the biggest disappointment, just in my opinion, because they got to where they tend to go. They are a disappointment because in this tournament, as they were playing and what you saw, you thought they were for bigger and better things. So I can understand that, but they ended up where they usually end up. And how does that happen? Colombia always does something Colombia and ends up, there. But why I think Ecuador was the biggest disappointment for me, because like he said, they had a very, very well-rounded, stacked team, very, very players, Champions League winning center backs. They had a very quality team, but like every other, the forward, the scoring. Same thing that happened to Colombia. They couldn't put it in, and that's what the elite teams do, and they always find a way, right? They always find a way to put it in. Sometimes, look at Argentina. Sometimes it's a defender. They came back because the defender headed it in a couple of times. So
Tottenham, Cristian Romero.
It's not always, the forward. These teams find a way. So I was disappointed for Ecuador because they had higher expectations from the last time. They almost got grouped again this time. They almost got grouped. So this is why I think they were the biggest disappointment, because I expected much more. They ended up fantastic in CONMEBOL in second, and they looked great. The defense was spectacular, but obviously the attack was the weakness. Colombia, same thing. We expected Colombia to have a solid team, and then they kind of played what we thought was above their means, right? The defense looked fantastic. The two center backs, which I've been attacking forever, saying that once we have elite center backs, then we can think about making a step up. They were playing at an elite level. Those two guys played as good as any pair of center backs in this tournament. And it was great to see. It's disappointing to see the same thing happen again, where they go into penalties, they can't finish, they created opportunities, they had chances, and it just didn't happen. I was on the coach, happy that he was making correct decisions throughout the tournament, but at the most important time during that game, I thought that he did a bad job reading the game, his game plan. He changed the tactics against Switzerland, and they just had all around bad luck where you can't put it in. You couldn't put it in. You had the opportunity, and you couldn't do it. I mean, everything was there for them. Switzerland, they were missing, 3 stars, or they played well because Switzerland is a good, solid team. Look, they had Argentina on the ropes. And even with one less player, right? Because if Embolo continues to play, which is a silly mistake, it could have been a different story. But I think Colombia should have taken him out. But the history of Colombia has been that they'll start and then they go from the big game. They change. What changed? They were playing 4-3-3, pressing, pressuring, quick passes. In this game, the guy comes out with a 4-2-2, and I can understand he wanted to put extra person in the midfield, but they kind of stepped back a little bit and initially gave the ball, to Switzerland, who just was very confident. And I think I get frustrated because Colombia has never won anything important. Really hasn't at the top level. They won a Copa America that people talk about because some teams didn't go and they were scared to go to Colombia, blah, 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 whatever. But they haven't won anything. So I get upset. I'm not a professional coach, but I get upset that if you got something that's working for you and it's going well, why adjust in the most crucial time? It always happens that way. When they get to knockout stages, they hold back and change their style. Go out and continue to play wide open. Go out and continue to attack. You lose 3-0, you lost 3-0, you've never won anyway. But why stop yourself from giving an opportunity to actually continue playing the way you were playing? Yeah. I think if they would have been more aggressive, they would have been better. And then our forwards were just, one guy got hurt, and then the other one just he's in front of the goal and he kicks it to the stands. So it just, that's the most important thing. You have to have someone that can just put it in. Like Harry Kane is carrying England, and I think he will be an X factor in this next game. It's going to be on his shoulders. Obviously Bellingham, but it's going to be on his shoulders. If England, and I got past what we were talking about, if England is supposed to do anything, it's going to be because they have a guy like that. And what does Argentina have? They have a couple of guys that score. Some of them weren't at a high level. Julian Alvarez hasn't been playing great. Lautaro hasn't been fantastic, but they come in and they score. So that's the difference between
Colombia and Ecuador. I feel like are very similar stories. Both were expected to go higher. I think that they both have issues scoring. You have Campas, we have Ener Valencia.
But Valencia is a better player. He's just older. Ener Valencia is an icon for Ecuador. He's done so much for that.
He has. That's the only reason he played now, but he missed a lot. And then the other thing is the not playing what has been successful for them in the past, and then giving the ball to the opponent. I think look, I'll say I still stand by what I said. I think Ecuador is a better team than Mexico. I think Colombia is a better team than Switzerland, but they both gave their opponents the ball at the beginning.
They got out-coached.
And decided to sit back as if they were the inferior team, where they should have been the protagonist. So very similar story, Colombia and Ecuador this World Cup.
I understand. I agree. I think I think because right now we're in the World Cup, and so there's so much to focus on. I think in the post-mortem, there will be a lot of questions for, I think, honestly, a lot of the South American teams and the overall, like the Brazils, the Colombia, Ecuador, etc., who didn't just seem like they were able to deliver. I will say, before I go into the US, I think the fans and there was a lot of negatives from the Mexico fans and the the fighting and the singing and all the at night. I understand that part was sucky. But what I will say is a positive is that on the field, what Mexico did for the full stadium of Azteca in each game, including the England game, they gave their heart, they gave their all, and they put on a show. And, that is really, when you're hosting a World Cup and when you're having these moments, you can't control everything, but you can control how you play and people can feel how you feel. And I think they should be proud. The team should be proud because what they did on the field and the effort and the excitement and togetherness, it was really fun to watch. Obviously in the end I was rooting for England when they were playing, but I still thought it was really cool. So I wanted to shout that out because there are negatives, but overall the Azteca is such an amazing stadium, and for the matches itself, I think it held its name.
I think Mexico provided a great experience for the tourists and the fans that went to watch the game. Not so much for the teams that were competing against them, but you saw lots of videos of great things happening. The duck became the icon of the World Cup, and it was. I think they had a great experience fan wise. Just the ethics behind and Gian said in South America we're a little shady with some of these things like that, so we're used to it. But you would expect in the World Cup they'd have better better protection for these teams. Push the crowd further away so they really can't be on top bothering. And you have ethics as sports, journalists, not telling people, oh, you know what, we wouldn't want you guys to go to XXX hotel because this team is going to be there at that time, and we definitely don't want you to just like make noise and they throw fire bombs and keep them up all night. Please don't do that. It was shitty to do that, but they still got taken out.
Yeah, agreed. All right, well, so then let's talk about the U.S. Because for all what I thought was for all the great that happened in the group stages and in the Bosnia game, honestly, for all the great that it did and for the people, and I will say moving forward, it does seem like, man, the overall feeling of U.S. soccer, I do think took a step forward, and hopefully we'll see what happens with the future and the youth and the building, and there's we can have a whole episode on that, but all the good that they did seemed to be undone in that Belgium game because it just felt like they were too scared of the moment. They didn't step up. It was a whole match. I understand the red card getting the suspension being lifted. It was probably they probably would have preferred just to not have him play because it became such a topic and everything like that. But with that aside, they didn't show up in the moment. They didn't play well. Pulisic, I mean, whether he wants it or not, he has been chosen as the best player and the leader of the U.S. team. And it's been that way for well over 5 or 6 years now. At a certain point, in my opinion, you need to accept and embrace it. Like, if you didn't want it initially, even if it's not your personality, it's the lot you got, and so you need to turn it around and figure out how to make the most of it because you're the best player on the team. I mean, maybe not anymore. You could say that about Tillman. You could say Balogun or better, but for a long time he was the best and leading the team. And I just think, man, you gotta match it at a certain point. I just think you've grown up, you've matured. You got to match it. That's my thinking. And so overall, it's disappointing for the U.S. It was a disappointing result, disappointing way to leave. A lot of good moments, a lot of things that hopefully will build on soccer. But I was disappointed.
So as far as the future, I mean, because the U.S. has a lot of prospects coming up that are really, really good players. They got a couple on the New York Red Bulls. Julian Hall and Meti, I think is his last name. Like fantastic. They have a lot of young players. They have in what is his name in Kansas?
Sullivan. Caden Sullivan.
Well, Caden is. I think that's going to be your future leader because he needs to be that cock. He has what Pulisic doesn't. He wants to smoke. He wants people looking at him. He wants to dye his hair. He wants people looking and telling him how good he is, and he doesn't care. And he'll talk back. That to me, that's the next star, and that's the star that U.S. needs. Because they're just too nice. Belgium actually played up to their potential. That game they actually had a good because Belgium, remember, it's a very high ranked team. It's not like they've always been a high ranked team, but they've always underachieved. And in this game, I think they put things together and they made the U.S. look like the U.S. They're a more talented team. The U.S. definitely felt the moment for some reason. Maybe they looked like they weren't not prepared. And I don't mean by the coaching. I think the players.
Yeah. I think they didn't not the coaching. I wish perhaps stays.
Yeah, they didn't expect, I guess, that intensity or that amount of competitiveness from Belgium. I guess they expected them a different way, and these guys were coming in at them and trying to kill them. So it's a learning experience, and I think that the U.S. did take a step forward, and I believe that with the mix of some of the guys that are there and the guys coming up, the next generation is going to be great. Chris Richards had a very good tournament, and that game was terrible. He looked scared. He looked nervous. He was erratic. So that's something that needs to be taken care of because you're going to have a center back in any team, in any of my teams, has to be someone that has confidence, presence, and leadership. Even if you're not the captain.
He was so good in all the other games, though. And
but one game wipes everything out.
Yeah,
that's the one game that you needed to be just regular. He wasn't regular. He was very subpar. I'm not taking away because he's a very talented player. So it's if he takes that as a learning experience and comes back better, great.
Yeah. Gian?
I think the U.S. has a good core moving forward, and they've got like like Xavi said, and you guys said, that they've got some young guys coming off. Hopefully, in the next few years, they'll look a lot better. I just think Pulisic isn't. He's a good player, but he's not who US fans want him to be, and I think
Yeah.
that's okay. And they need to move on from the fact that he doesn't fit that mold. He's not the guy that you can make him the face of the US. He's not the guy that you can depend on all the time. He's proven that, I think, multiple times. So again, that doesn't take away from his skill set and how good he is. He's not your Cristiano Ronaldo. He's not your Messi, right? He's not your Haaland, and that's what people want him to be so badly. That's not him. As far as the Balogun thing, I think that definitely had a huge effect on him and then how he played. I think he disappeared that game mentally, but for him and both the team, you think about it, for him mentally, not having a clue of whether he's going to play or not. Apparently, he found out that same day, because even though it was announced that that they they had rescinded, they had taken away the suspension, or rather suspended the suspension, which sounds weird, but there was still, apparently Belgium was appealing, right? And they didn't know until the end if he was going to play or not. So that messed him up. And I think the US too. Like, we have to remember, it takes days and if not weeks of planning. Obviously in the World Cup it's not weeks, but you're like, you plan 3-4 days ahead. How are you going to play if you don't know if you're going to be able to depend on your best forward a few hours before? It's the same day. It's tough to plan that, and obviously that I think affected a lot how they play.
Your mic.
Can you hear me?
Now we can, yeah.
You gotta keep it.
I went out.
No, I think what I'm doing is I'm holding, and I think I've been hitting mute by accident. But but nonetheless, though, from whatever you heard or didn't hear, the point is that red card and the uncertainty of whether Balogun was going to play affected him and the US. They just weren't able to game plan accordingly, is what I feel like.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, I will say with Pulisic, beforehand, it felt like there were no other options. Like, there was no one at his level, right, at the US. But especially after this tournament, I mean, like, Malik Tillman's an absolute baller. I think we knew that, because I mean, I think we watch a decent amount of European soccer, but he really showed up. He showed out. Balogun, same thing. Chris Richards, for the most part, I think same thing. Serginho Dest, all these players like are showing that they're great and their skill set is great. And so, yeah, well, back to the drawing board. We'll see. There's a lot of strong people in the core. We'll see what happens with Pochettino. I mean, I think he probably is going to leave, unfortunately. But, man, I'd really like if he were to stay, because I think he did more for a team than we've seen in over 10, 12 years.
In a short period of time, yeah.
Yeah, and showed like what it could be. So we'll see. Okay, the next subject that I want to talk about, and I guess kind of to transition from Balogun, is VAR. Now, VAR is a subject I feel like no matter what team you support, in what country, in what time of the year, is always a topic of discussion. Always. But this World Cup specifically, it seems like they are going overboard, and every minute detail and moment is being reviewed and over reviewed and corrected, and it's taken out some of the element of the live action in the game, where you think that every single second and millisecond and moment that you have can be overturned or corrected. Then people aren't playing as free, in my opinion. And whether it's the Switzerland red card, whether in the England-Mexico game, there were multiple cards, and in multiple games there have been all these situations. Portugal, the first goal for Ronaldo, should have counted. It was so beautiful. But yeah, Gian, I'm curious what you think, because obviously we've been watching the game for a while, and it just seems like that VAR and the referees are overtaking the game in a way we've really never seen.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And look, I think that we can all disagree or agree on different plays, right? I think it also depends on who you're rooting for, whether you're going to agree with the play or not. I just think that what's happened and what's causing the most controversy more than anything is just the VAR fatigue, I think, that we all have. And where it's just become so intrusive that it basically anytime there's a play, it's like you're nervous. You don't know what's next. Is
Interest
it
is
going
a
to
good
be a
word, yeah.
VAR review? Is it not? Do I celebrate the goal? But look, I mean, I don't know how you guys do it, but I can't celebrate a goal now for at least 30 seconds. I mean, I'm just there like in
And the
suspense.
players too. As soon as they score, everyone is looking at the refs. Yeah.
It's like a horror movie. I'm just like, what's next? The ball is in the net. What are they going to find? And I think what I think what's bothered me the most is a lot of the inconsistencies within the VAR. I think when you I don't know about how purist you are, but as a football purist, I don't think there should be VAR, but I can understand the need for it. And I thought that it would bring a bit more of consistency, but what it's done is the opposite. There's just so much inconsistency. I see the same play for both teams, and one is a VAR review, the other isn't, right? I see a VAR trying to rule a goal offside or because of a foul, rather, not even offside because of a foul. Well, how far back are we looking, right? Like
Egypt feels hard done by, yeah.
Yeah, for some teams, we look back a few plays. For other, it looks like we're going back into the first half, even though the goal was in the second half at some point. And it's just like, I just think that what you do for one team should be done for the other. And I think that when you start to see VAR and controversial plays somehow mysteriously always fall for a specific team, you start to question things, right? It's like, okay, there's controversy is always going to happen, but how do all like 90% of the controversies favor the same team? And that's where you start to have these questions and that sort of thing. Like I said, we can debate the plays and all that, and we'll all have our opinion, but I think we're all just tired, honestly. It's just VAR fatigue, and it makes us all fight. If you follow me on X, you could see how pissed I am. I'm being more civil here, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, before you go, Javi, I know, Gian, you have to run. You had a pre-planned event. Totally understandable. We'll be back, of course, with Inter Miami content very, very soon. So me and Javi are going to continue the conversation, but I wanted to just give you a chance to head out and thank you for your contribution as always.
100%. Appreciate you both. I'm sure that this is going to be interesting, what you guys have to say about VAR, but that's my VAR take. And yeah, I can't wait to be back on. I wish you guys the best. Thank you.
See ya. All right, Javi. Well, obviously, he just completely, threw Argentina under the bus, and so we'll get to Argentina in a bit.
He didn't mention any names. You just did.
True. He just said a team. He just said a team. But what about you? What's your take on VAR?
What I think is the VAR, what it's done in this tournament is show how inconsistent and inaccurate and how bad human beings are, how they manipulate things regardless. The idea was to make this, more fair and get away with
now
certain
people
things.
just want to be right. Yeah.
But it's still misused. It's still being misused and mistreated by the humans in control. So it's anything that we do. It's if we don't put ourselves in check first, it's not going to function. It's not going to work. The purity of the game, the essence of the game, is being lost when you, in a game where Croatia made a amazing comeback, you take a goal away because supposedly a ball nipped someone's hair. Supposedly the eye test doesn't show that, but supposedly the sensor does. But then you just have a game where the eye test tells you it hit the wire for the camera.
The sensor doesn't,
but the sensor doesn't. So it's inaccurate, inconsistent. But I blame the people because there's a lot of money involved in this. We all know that the gambling has always existed. Gambling has always been an issue in sports. But the way things are now, the technology has made it so much bigger, so big. It's global. I can, anybody from any corner of the world can bet on anything if you have Wi-Fi and you have the app. So I think that has a lot to do with it. So until there's some sort of way to guarantee a cleansing of this, you're always going to have people misuse it and misinterpret. And so the essence of what it was meant to do, it's not working because of the people. I like the technology. I like the fact that it makes it more fair, because it's not right for you're going to go. He mentioned Argentina, so we'll go back to 1986, and this game is coming up.
Hand of God,
Maradona would not have gotten away with that hand of God in this day and age with VAR. And I think that's fair, right? But then it's misused for different things. But at that moment, It didn't exist. It happened. Time went on, and an amazing story was written. Right? He came back. He scored a fantastic goal, and then Argentina against odds, big large odds, because they went into that tournament not as a favorite, not as a team. They were actually pretty down and out, and they end up winning it. So I'm torn between the VAR. I think that if it's used correctly and properly, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
But it's the people that ruin it. It's the people.
Gian already putting in his comment. They shows, yeah. I think that's a really great way of putting it. It is the people. And do you know what I also think has been a side effect of, especially in this tournament? I don't feel that way, honestly, normally. But this tournament, it's really been amplified. I feel like the on-field referee, the main referee, is not calling as much because he's relying on VAR. And so we're seeing so many games where the referee is so passive, and now you're forcing VAR and you're forcing people to make sometimes subjective decisions, right? Because certain things, for example, like I'll give an example of the Holland goal, right? Like the Norway goal where it was overturned. Like in a game, if the referee saw it first or called it, he saw it. If he called it, no one would ever complain, because you push two hands and someone falls like in a header, that it's called a foul. It's called that all the time in real time. He didn't call it. So now it becomes a question of review and, is it, I mean, I know I'm an England fan, but overall, like if it was the teams reversed, if I said, hey, he pushed my guy down with two hands, like that's, I don't know. So that's one example where like the referee saw it in real time. It didn't call it. We saw in the in the game for Portugal, like he saw in real time I think it was a foul from Rafael Leao that he was fouled, and he didn't call it. And so then it became, it's ticky-tacky, it's touchy. Like there's moments where because of the moment and the referee not saying things, it's becoming just reliant on VAR, and they're not calling things enough in real time. And so again, the players are just all reactionary, right? They're just trying to wait to see if
deferring. The referees are deferring, and then they have the ability to say no. Hey, you need to go. No, I saw it. I was on top of it. I don't need to see shit. Keep going. They can do that. What are they going to do? Suspend them? Yeah, whatever. But and then when they go and see something, they don't have to. It's there in their ear now, so it seems like they're being manipulated from up there.
Yeah.
And that shouldn't be the case either. The bottom line, the referee has always final say. Same thing as an offside. The man can put up the flag, and the referee can say play on because it's not offside. Obviously, you don't do that because the linesman should have the better angle. But there's times where it's obvious, if there is an offside or there isn't. Could be the other way, that the linesman keeps his flag down and it's obviously offside. The referee can blow the whistle and stop it without him putting the flag up, without having to go to VAR. I just see they're deferring, and it's more controlling. There's too much control, and there's not enough being spontaneous and just the game flowing and the chaos, the perfect chaos that is a game. So I think they're taking that human element, that factor, too far gone. So they need to
agreed, and just too harsh. They're being too harsh. Like things there's so many red cards, so many.
Like if there's robots playing.
Yeah, it's tough to see. And again, I think also in part of the post-mortem of this World Cup, which in my eyes has been honestly 80-90% positive. I think in terms of the games, it's been a really good the competition, the passion, the environments have all been great. Yeah. There will always be calls questioned. I think this will maybe honestly cause there to be some real thinking about VAR, because this was a tournament where you saw in real time it not working. There's a lot of situations in a lot of games in the domestic leagues where it's a conversation and it's a back and forth, but then the next game happens. In this thing, everything is heightened. And so you're seeing in real time how it's not working. And so I'll be interested to see if they do anything about it.
They have to.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so now let's talk about the semifinals that are happening tomorrow and Wednesday.
Fantastic.
At 3 p.m. local time, which is a bit weird, to be honest. I thought they would be night games, primetime games. Like, that's part of hosting, I feel like, is you should have the time slot you want. But regardless, we don't have to talk about that. But let's talk about the games itself. I feel like we've done a good amount of talking about Argentina and England So I think we should just kind of like really quickly give our thoughts on that game, and then give some time for France and Spain because that's going to be an epic game. But Argentina versus England,
More than a game. It's more
more
than a
than
game.
it's a huge moment. Actually, you know what? I changed my mind. Let's start with France and Spain. Never mind. I think the England Argentina game is way more exciting.
Did you go to VAR for that?
Yeah, I'm going to Ashley's VAR, and Ashley says, let's start with France and Spain, because it's predictable is a strong word. That seems mean. Obviously, France is playing at an insane level. Mbappé is phenomenal. He's showing that he's one of the best players in the world, obviously. But it's almost robotic at this point.
They're the favorites, right? They're the favorites.
They're the favorites.
The one team that's been throughout the tournament looking better than all of basically everybody else. The amount of stars that they have in attack, the amount of firepower they have, and they're strong defensively also. So yeah, they're
embarrassment of riches. Yeah,
they're the clear favorites, but you cannot count out a Spain that has players that can control and manage the times and the flows of the game. If you can keep the ball away from France, if you can lure them out and somehow get into some gaps and maybe get a couple of goals, because they have the ability to do so. If Lamine wakes up in this tournament, and to be fair with him, he's come back from an injury, very serious injury, so he's not 100%. Even though he's 100% physically, his timing, his flow, everything is not what we're used to with him. But if he can put it together for this one game, there's they have a chance. He's trouble. He's a handful, and they have several players that can attack. So I think it's a lot more even than people expect. If Spain were to be a little nippy and rough, kind of like Paraguay was, but still maintain the essence of their free-flowing movement and touching the ball, I think they can complicate France. But that's a big if, because France is they look like they're floating. Olise, when he gets the ball, he just looks like he's floating, and it's like they're doing ballet, put it out there, and all of a sudden you have a complicated game, and Mbappé within an inch of the defender just whacks one into the corner.
What a goal that was,
and hits in the perfect angle. So they have these type of players that can make the difference. So I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a close game, and it's hard. It's hard to pick, but you would guess that you would venture to say France continues because they just looked better than everybody else. But that it's really tough. I think both games are toss-ups, to be honest with you. With France being a little bit, if it's 50-50, well, France is 55, 45.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I think it's interesting because on paper, technically, the last major trophy in intercontinental tournament, the Euros, was Spain, and you would say based on that and the numbers, Spain is the number one team and is the one that should be expected to win everything. But I think they've been overall a little bit underwhelming, compared to what I expected. France though is showing that they're the clear favorite. I do think, to be fair, either Argentina or England will give it a really good game, a really good final. Like,
they have a chance. They have a chance. It's one game. If we're saying, best out of 5 or best out of 3, then you definitely go with France. But it's one game. And I think it's similar to what happened last time.
It only takes one moment too. Yeah.
Right. I think France was a better team last World Cup, and they end up losing.
Yeah.
And if they meet
Emilio Martinez save,
right. If it's either England or Argentina, whichever, I think either one of those teams can complicate them with their physicality, and they can make it a tough game. I think they can make it a tough game.
Yeah.
So either one is going to be tough. I think Argentina, France will be the matchup people want to see again, and France definitely wants to meet them again to try to get some payback for the last World Cup. But I think Argentina's South American edginess and poking and getting into players' heads and committing the foul in the right moment and whacking and trying to get in people's heads. I think they can complicate. I think they can complicate France if they were to pass, obviously, and I think they have the firepower. So if Messi for this one game ends up coming back as he was at the beginning of the tournament with that energy, um, they can complicate. They can complicate France. But England also, these four. It's the first time, right, that the top four seeds make it.
Yeah.
All four of them to the semifinal. So this tournament has been, apart from being historic, it's been fantastic. I think this has been one of the best tournaments ever.
It's been amazing.
It's been one of the best tournaments ever, and one of the best things that outcomes have been the amount of stories in the U.S., the amount of tourists who have come from Europe and said, "Hey, they lied to us. They lied to us. They said that you guys were garbage, that everything is violence, that everything that the U.S. is not perfect. It's definitely not that hellhole that they picture, like the underworld or something, that they picture to them over there in Europe." So just seeing firsthand the accounts of these people saying it and enjoying and loving, the gas stations, the Walmart, all these things that's been part of the story for me also in the World Cup. I've enjoyed that just as much as I've enjoyed the game. So it's been a great World Cup, and I think these four teams are the four teams that should be there, and the winner is going to be whoever's going to be crowned is going to be a very deserving winner.
Yeah, no, agree. I mean, look, with Spain, it only takes a moment from a Lamine Yamal, from a Rodri, from a Pedri, from anyone to really like create Mikel Merino, who's the one who's been getting these goals. It can happen.
Amazing,
and France
right?
could fall. It doesn't seem like it. They seem like the favorite, but anything could happen in a semifinal. And so it'll be really interesting to see how that game plays out. And you talked about it a little bit, but England, Argentina. So for me, obviously, just personally, it's tough because in my true heart is I want England to win.
Right.
I live there. It's a very important part of me and my life, my family, my friends. But I love Messi and I love Argentina, and so I want him to be happy and great too. So it'll be
You're torn.
It'll be a difficult game to watch, but I mean, for let's talk about England for a second because they've made it to the semifinal, and on the books it was what was supposed to happen, but it was a very tough road to get here. I mean, playing against Norway, which absolutely is going to be the darling of this tournament, made it so much farther and played so great. Holland, everyone, amazing.
Oh, they were so much fun.
Amazing. And the Mexico game was extraordinarily difficult to play at the Azteca with those circumstances, those conditions. There's been a lot, but not only Harry Kane, like you said, I mean, Jude Bellingham, he may get a statue in England for what he's done. I mean, he is playing. He's the player of the tournament by far, and he's he has stepped up, and his charisma, his confidence, what he's bringing out of the rest of the team. Like, you're seeing every single player put in an absolute shift and believe that they can win. That's the biggest thing with previous tournaments with England.
They're one of the stacked teams.
They've been, they could always win, but they always bowed out early because they just didn't have the confidence and belief. It feels like they have such belief in themselves and the ability and the coaching and the struggles they've gone through. I believe that they could beat Argentina, and I believe they can win.
Absolutely, it's a toss-up game. But Tuchel, his comments about the team, and then Bellingham's response, that's not what you want right before a big game like this. You need the troops.
Nobody demands greatness, and I think that is good. I think it was bad timing and everything like that. I think you partially really should blame the reporter on that. In my opinion, he didn't need to bring it up and try and create this.
Well, if he says it, and you're a reporter, and that's a story, you're going to put it out there.
No, I agree.
He should have known better and kept it in the locker room if he felt that way. I mean, you cannot cause or create or try to stir like a controversy, and you're the one that's starting it, and then your star player gets wind of it in an interview and then says, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's not.
But
a
he
good
demands
thing.
greatness, which I like, which is what they needed, and that I think the demand of greatness has been what has propelled them to this moment.
What is greatness? Dominating and just making it look easy, or
I think it's mentality.
I think you have to understand. Some people don't understand what it is to compete or what it is to be in the highest level in the trenches at any sport. It's not very, very difficult. It's very mentally challenging, physically, emotionally. And these guys, man, this tournament has been very, very tough and demanding on them physically. The heat, the flights, and he does his game plan. He does his thing. But then he sits on the bench. He's not the one running and getting pounded and kicking. You have to have certain decorum and respect for your players too. I understand perfection. I understand, but you have to be realistic too. I mean, they're moving, they're getting, and as long as your team is climbing, Argentina has not been fantastic. They have not been fantastic at all, but they've continued to move, and they keep getting more dangerous and more dangerous each time. And their coach, which I believe also demands the best from them, understand and is more of a human aspect with them and keeps the group and keeps the bond together. So I think that's something that I don't know how much it's going to affect England.
Right, we'll have to see.
I don't know how much it's going to affect them, but I know that it wasn't the best thing for them. But I think this is an amazing game. I said it's more than a game. This goes back between the history, the shared history that they have about, outside the political, outside of soccer. There's still this no love, from Argentina to England, from England to Argentina, and it has more, not just on the pitch, because they've had these epic battles on the pitch and off it, and both of them are embedded in their hearts of both nations. So this is more than a game. I don't know what we're gonna see, but I can't wait. I can't wait.
Crazy.
I can't wait to see it. I mean, and if we're going history, France, Spain, you can go back into history, but they go back further, even way further. So this is
really far,
epic historic battles that we're gonna have in these semifinals, and I can't wait. It's the top four teams. The top four teams. What more can you ask for, right? I would have loved my team to have been there, but they're not, and I'm gonna enjoy these games. I just can't wait.
Yeah. No, I agree. I totally. And I think we'll see how it ends up being on the pitch with two teams that I think are playing their heart out. But what I will say, and what we'll sort of end on before we give our predictions, is it's pretty amazing, even at this point, what Messi can do for a team. Because not only is it because of his play and obviously the goals he's scored and the level he plays at, but the way it's almost like a spirit, a ghost that goes into every player that is playing for Argentina. They die for him. The players I know obviously he's, the most loved person in the country, all these things. It's true. And of course, and we see he's a god among soccer around the world for sure. But the players that play with him on Argentina specifically would literally die for him. And they want so badly to have him be happy and to win and to make him joyful that they go into another space. They play in a way that they didn't even expect to play. And it's mystical. It's it feels inhuman almost that these things happen. And so with that, it's like you just can't. It's really hard to say in a game of magnitude that Argentina is going to lose after what we've seen over the last 3
You can never count them out. And something that I read, Scaloni was mentioning how Messi, in anything that he does, he competes and he wants to win, and it bugs him. And even if they're doing rondos, he wants to do rondos. And in practice, he goes all out. And given his age, look what he's doing. And the people see that, the players, his teammates see that, and the expectation is, man, if this guy is the GOAT and he's putting in this shift, he's putting in this effort, he's this humble, who am I? I have that's amazing leadership by example, and you have to follow that, and it makes you want to run through a wall, because he seems too good to be true, right? Because right, he seems too good to be true, because he is the greatest. You can say that, and you can argue whatever you want, but he's on that table, and he, to me, he is the top dog. But in his everyday life, and this is what I admire the most, is he's down to earth, humble. He has his family. Like, I admire, he has his 3 kids, his wife. He's a family man. He's never been in any type of scandals. He leads like this life excellence. He's pure heart, on and off the pitch. So that's what captures my attention the most, because his feats on the pitch are inhuman, like you said, extraordinary. It's superhuman, supernatural. But being able to maintain that lifestyle, being able to be even in a straight and narrow path,
Yeah.
it's not common for an athlete. It's not,
No, especially not
one,
from the best. Yeah,
especially one like him that and everything's at his feet. Everything's at his feet, and still so it's fantastic. And how can you not root for a guy like that? At least I can't root against him. I only root against him when he plays against Colombia or US. That's it. So I mean,
that's why it's hard. Do you know he's never played England? He's never played England. This can be his first time ever playing against England. Did you know that?
No, I did not. That's a fun fact. That
his first time ever playing against England from Argentina. I mean, he's played Liverpool, Manchester United, like he's played against them.
But against
from Argentina playing against the national team, he's never done
because
it.
they wouldn't even do a friendly because they're not on friendly terms. So it wouldn't be a friendly match if they played, in England or Argentina or anywhere.
Yeah.
Or even if they do the neutral, or even if they need a neutral site, it wouldn't be a friendly match because this is more than a match. This is political. This is, man, so many things are in play here, and I can't wait. And I want to see, now that you mentioned that, wow, that's a lot of storylines behind this game.
It's really interesting, yeah. And I mean, he said very nice things about England, like the team when he did his interview.
Oh, he's gonna be respectful. He's not,
of course. And I think I mean, obviously those political and geopolitical things. I mean, England tried to conquer everyone, to be fair. So I think everyone has a bone to pick with them in some sense. But Argentina, Messi just brings out the superhuman in every. I mean, you see Alexis McAllister, Julian Alvarez, Dibu Martinez, all these players playing outside of themselves. And it's just what the Argentina shirt's doing and being with Messi. And so, it'll be a really interesting game.
It's going to be a battle.
All I know that I'm really happy about. Do you know what I'm really happy about? The game is I'm going to be so stressed the whole game because I don't know what's going to make me happy or sad. I mean, I think I want England to win, but it's going to be so hard. I love Messi so much. What's the best part about everything is that in a week, he's on our team again. If you think about it, like everyone's enjoyed Messi so 100%. Much and seen him and the joy he brings to everybody in the world when he plays. We get him back next week.
I'm so happy that he's doing well representing MLS.
The commercial that came out from MLS today was great. I mean, they did a great job of capitalizing on what has been a really great showing from MLS players in this tournament. Obviously Messi, we knew, but all the other ones too, and it's great to see that. Like, I'm curious to see if there's gonna be a bump in viewership and overall interaction, excitement, engagement with MLS. It'll be interesting to see. But so to finish off this episode, I think let's give our predictions of the semifinals and then the finals, who we're gonna see. And Xavi, it's been so great having you on this series about the World Cup. The World Cup has been amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We'll do a post kind of more of an episode about it all. But before the final, for now, let's give our predictions of these last three matches. You go first. Me first. Okay. All right. I'll go first. France and Spain. I think France is going to win. But I'm going to say the same for both things, but I wouldn't be surprised if Spain won. If Spain won, I'd be like, oh, well, there you go. They had the better day. But I think Mbappe right now and the whole France team they're playing at such a level. They're impossible to stop. So I think France will be back into the final. And this will now be their third final in 3 World Cups, which just shows kind of like the powerhouse that they are. Yeah. England, Argentina, man. It's really, 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 really tough to think who's going to win or decide. I'm going to lead with my heart, and I'm going to say England because it would just be really special. And I think right now, like, obviously it's no Messi, but like you're seeing a Jude Bellingham and you're seeing a Harry Kane that are playing right now. Jude Bellingham is playing the best he's ever played by far. Like, you're seeing them all take an elevated level. And it's made a difference thus far, and so we'll see if they can continue and makes a difference again. I mean, Jude Bellingham is right now playing like a player he's playing like an Mbappe or Messi, where you don't want to play him. You don't want to play against him. He's scoring, he's creating, he's defending, he's doing everything. So I'm going to say England because it's my heart. But if Argentina and Messi can keep doing it, damn, that's pretty amazing, and he deserves it because he's Messi and he's the best, and he plays for Inter Miami, and I love him. Everyone remember that. And then okay, do you want to say your semifinals or?
Yeah, I was gonna say go ahead, finish what you were gonna say.
Okay, and so then my final, it's France versus England. It's coming home. England are winning the 2026 World Cup.
When was the last time they made to a final? Was it 66?
66.
So if they make it, they're going to take it home. Okay, interesting.
60 years it's been. And I just, for the first time ever, I feel like the stars have aligned and they're playing like a team. And I'm telling you right now, if they win, I'll be on a flight to London next week. I will be.
If anybody can beat France, it would be England. I think they have, the type of team necessary to do it. But I'm gonna say that France gets by Spain, and I'm gonna say the same thing the other game. But in this one, I think France gets by Spain 3-2, and I think Argentina gets by England 3-2. Now the final.
Oh, you think they're both gonna have the same score? I can't even think of the score. It's too much.
I think in the final, I thought France was a better team last time. I think they're the better team this time too, and they still lost. So, but I don't know if Mbappe is ready to I actually think France is even better this time than last time, because Olise is another player at that level, like Mbappe. I think he's at that level and climbing to be one of the Ballon d'Ors, future Ballon d'Ors. So they're very, very tough. But I cannot pick against Argentina.
Yeah, no, I get it.
In a game where it's Messi's last game.
Yeah.
Perhaps with the national team, and if they have a chance to carry him on their shoulders goodbye, they're going to do everything in their power to do it. So they're going to bleed, and this is going to be wow, what a battle! I
agree.
That and it'll be another one of those games. So I'm going to go crazy and just say like 4-3 Argentina.
Yeah. No, and I mean, like I said, my decision of England was heart. I think it's
very possible.
But do you know what? It's interesting because I think it's more possible for Argentina to lose in a semifinal than a final. I think if Argentina make it to the final, to your point, like these players will have to be stabbed in the heart to not try and win and get their team over the top. So there's a very easy world where in 5-6 days from now, Messi is once again the champion, and it wouldn't surprise anyone just because of what the team can do and the bringing together. I think it's going to be just insane. These next 2 days are going to be insane. Sunday will be insane. And it's been an amazing World Cup. And I think whichever of these 4 teams win, like you said, it will be a deserving win.
Yeah.
And we've seen the best of the best. Everyone elevate their game, the passion, the fans, everything. It's been amazing. And it'll be hard to go back to just regular league play. But like I said, we have Messi, so I'll take it.
I'll be watching the Inter Miami game, and I'll start rowing by mistake.
I love it. All right. Well, I guess we'll have to see. And as always, Javi, thank you so much for joining. Thank you everyone for watching, commenting, engaging. It's been an amazing World Cup. It's always amazing being on this show. And so, yeah, thank you for watching this episode of Messi and Co. I'm Ashley. There was Gian, and that is Javi, and we will see you next time. So thank you.
Bye-bye.